Growing a business is not easy. I remembered crying alone in the dark under the desk in my office at 3 a.m. in the morning. And what was going through my head at that time, I was thinking this company is going to die. And at that time, it was the year 2004, and I was made general manager of a tiny biotech startup providing laboratory testing services for the life sciences sector. And it was called Biomedical Research and Support Services, or BRAS for short. So I was responsible for securing clients and sales contracts, but after 6 months, sales efforts were futile. I had doors slammed in my face too many times, and each one was a blow to my confidence. So naturally, I was feeling very despondent that day. And earlier on, I had a meeting with a client, and it was a very important client, a very significant sales prospect and opportunity. So earlier on, I spent a lot of time pulling together a sales proposal, and I was very excited about the meeting. But during the meeting, when I handed over the sales proposal, what the client said was very shocking. He actually said, "Oh, so you have a PhD? That's just being clever on paper." Yeah. So I was taken aback, but I can't remember whether I felt humiliated, but I did not hesitate to reply and said, "Look, I was formerly a regulatory manager at the Health Sciences Authority, and I created the rules on the regulatory controls of medical devices for Singapore. So I know the healthcare sector very, very well," but that was not enough for the client. He actually went on to say, "Look, we're already doing all these test services with another laboratory called ALS, and ALS is providing these services for much cheaper." So that was another big no, another door slammed in my face. And I was feeling very dizzy and exhausted because I'm getting the same answer. Our prices were too high. The thing is, nobody cared about our qualifications. So what if I had a doctorate in science? Those credentials just do not create authority, and they are not convincing selling points. We were fighting a losing battle. BRAS was competing against much larger, more well-funded, and more experienced laboratories. And we were just too small, our services were too limited, and our prices were just too high. So one day I asked a colleague and a fellow scientist, and I asked, why are our prices so high, and how differently are we designing our test services? And she replied, "Look, Nelda, we have a lot of controls in our testing methodologies because we are specializing in the life sciences. And these controls are necessary to ensure the validity of test results, and this is a mandatory regulatory requirement. Our competitors are not specializing in the life sciences, and so they do not have these same controls in place." And that was when I felt, eureka! That was our unique selling point. That was our brand authority, and that brand had to align with what our customers stand for, and that was regulatory compliance. And all this while, I made 3 mistakes while selling. And I was selling as a scientist. That means I was promoting my credentials and qualifications. I was selling based on pricing, and I was promoting features and specifications. And because of that, BRAS was not differentiating itself from its competitors. And that was when I came up with the 3 rules of premium positioning. And those rules involve: do not rely on your credentials, your qualifications, and technical excellence as the primary selling point. Instead, define the why your business and your work matters to the customer. Number 2, do not reduce prices. Instead, define and embody an identity that is easy to recognize and trust. Number 3, do not sell features, specifications, and functions. Instead, position your business around a higher philosophy and purpose that aligns with what customers stand for. So to achieve all this, I had to lead differently. I dropped my PhD persona. The first thing I did was to define the why clients would choose BRAS as a testing partner. And the answer is, we design test services that comply with stringent healthcare standards. Number 2, what identity does BRAS embody? And the answer is we specialize only in medical device testing out of the broader life sciences and healthcare sector. And that immediately eliminated competitors who lack this specialization. Number 3, how do we specialize philosophically and bring value that allows our clients to achieve a higher purpose? And that is we position brass to be the pathway to regulatory compliance and global market entry, not a laboratory. This means everyone in brass had to conduct themselves like consultants and not laboratory technicians. So smart-looking, sharp-dressing, smooth-talking consultants. And we were not going to ask clients what tests they wanted. We were going to advise clients what they need to do in order to survive audits and enter global markets. And then suddenly I was no longer selling laboratory test services. I was putting on my entrepreneur hat and speaking the language of business strategy. And brass became a solutions provider, and the results followed. Trust grew, revenues grew, clients grew, and brass's authority grew. And brass became synonymous with medical device regulatory compliance. By 2007, we were securing contracts worth $250,000 each. I became CEO. In 2013, we exited through a $5 million acquisition by Charles River Laboratories from North Carolina in the United States. As for the clients who made me cry at 3 a.m. in the morning, they became one of our most loyal and long-standing customers. And all of this was possible because of a strategy rooted in the 3 rules of premium positioning. Number 1, define your why. Number 2, embody the identity. And number 3, specialize philosophically. And by using this, you can form deep connections with your clients better. You don't have to be the biggest company. You don't need to have the most advanced technology, but you must understand one thing, and that is whatever your business does, your business purpose must align with the core values of your customers and solve their pressures. So looking back at that moment at 3 a.m. in the morning when I was crying, I discovered that I had the ability to see through the eyes of my customer. And that shift from speaking about what we do to understanding what our customers stand for and what they need prevented me from giving up. And I changed from being a scientist to become an entrepreneur who was responsible for business survival. And I truly believe that any business can be successful if they adopt the 3 rules of premium positioning to create value and authority that align with what customers stand for.